Hi, welcome back. This week's question is really rooted on a personal level because I've been asked since the pandemic really hit, as well as given what's happened with Black Lives Matters. Al, what are you doing? What's happening with you? And I'll get into some details about my personal journey in another segment, likely next week. But for right now, I want to share what I've decided regarding PAFOW. If you're hearing PAFOW for the first time, it's People Analytics and Future of Work. We've been doing events and building community in this area in one form or another for 16 years, going back to just after I was with the Inform Group and shortly thereafter with Connexa, which is now part of IBM. So, but this has been my forte for a long time, and I feel very blessed to be part of such a virtuous and wonderful community. And I feel a great sense of responsibility to nurture that community and bring great ideas, great content, make connections, and frankly, I enjoy it. So, given what's happening, and given that we were in the events business essentially, and that drove a lot of our revenue and drove our economic model and made us viable. We're not doing in-person events anymore, at least for the time being. I do not foresee doing an in-person event under the PAFOW brand, at least until fall of 2021. And even then, who knows? And if the world changes in positive ways, so be it. So I had to ask myself a very harsh question, if you will. Do I want to stay in this business? And for reasons that I just cited, yes, I came back, and then it invited then the question, how? What does it look like? So what I've done is I have made some investments in what I call top shelf technologies. We have a partnership now with Cvent and Six Connects and Mighty Networks, and those platforms are enabling us to create something that I believe is massively unique and massively valuable to you all. And let me explain. Right now, we have been building what we're calling the PAFOW campus. The PAFOW campus is going to be an always-on environment where people can go to find resources, have educational experiences, see the vendors, the technology innovators in the space, go visit what they have going on. And it's something that we're going to enable groups around the world to go through this campus to host their own events. So we really want to create a global community according to geography, according to interest area. And so just know we're in the process of building that out, and it will be ready in the next few weeks in time for our next big event, what we're calling PAFOW Global Online. And we're going to have 4 key conferences. And of course, these are going to be virtual for the time being. They're all going to be named PAFOW Global Online. And we're going to have a fall version, a winter version, a spring version, and a summer version. Go figure. We're also going to have events roughly every other week around what we're calling 12 themes or 12 personas. And I won't go through all those now, but the idea is to create timely, relevant, and actionable content on an ongoing basis for the benefit of the community. And as we do this, if you have ideas, if you have ways that you think you can contribute and add value to others, by all means, share. And there's going to be means in which you'll be able to do that within the network. We're also developing media like you're experiencing right now. So you likely know a podcast. We're relaunching what we're calling the People Data for Good newsletter. And we're doing a host of videos and transcriptions and audio recordings that will be easily findable within our database. In addition to that, we're offering what we're calling learning labs. Now, these are education consulting hybrids. So it's one thing to go and have stuff come at you and intake it. There's another thing to actually collaborate with colleagues, collaborate with those maybe in other organizations to design what's most appropriate for you moving forward. And so as we do this, we're going to cover the themes that are top of mind to most everyone: diversity, equity, inclusion, what we're going to talk about today. We're also going to cover things that are getting less attention that I personally believe, and others in the community who are involved believe, are going to be important moving forward. Everything from prioritization to governance to really looking at how we can advocate for the worker and balance the commercial needs of a particular business, particularly given we're in remote work, particularly given that we have people around us for families and who require our attention as well. So we have this whole new dynamic. Data and analytics and AI certainly play a part. So how are we going to have those discussions? How are we going to drive actionable change for ourselves, for our teams, for our groups, and our organizations? Which leads me into what People Data for Good is all about. People Data for Good is something that has been kind of lingering out there for a number of years. And I really point to the folks at Patagonia who have inspired me over the years. It's been Dean Carter, Chris Mason, Caitlin Kavanaugh. It's just been Jill Valaka's domain. So those folks have really inspired me to say, okay, I have this platform, this community that I am facilitating. What do we stand for? And it was captured, I think, really nicely in People Data for Good. And what I believe, how we define it is this: we're promoting the ethical and responsible use of people data, analytics, and AI for the benefit of individuals, teams, groups, organizations, and society at large. That's what People Data for Good means to me and what it means to us as a community. And let me just peel that back real quick. It benefits individuals first and foremost. Individuals are creating the data. And historically, it's been the case where I'm creating this data. What's in it for me? I'm supposed to fill out that talent card. Why? If it's all the benefit to the organization and others, why do people do it? So the benefit has to come back to the individuals. That's a North Star. Teams, obviously, team dynamics, and particularly in remote work, are critical. Groups, and I'm talking about diversity groups, I'm talking about cohorts, really, how do we think about groups and how can data, analytics, and AI benefit these groups? And certainly we're going to talk about that with Lexi and Stella shortly. Organizations, obviously, how do organizations formulate talent strategies or people strategies with the better, more intentional use of data? And finally, society at large. How are we actually thinking about it? How are educational institutions, governmental organizations, policymakers actually thinking about how data is going to be secured? And ultimately go back to where we started, promoting the ethical and responsible use of all this. So that's what we stand for. That's what we're about. There's certainly more to share, but that's a broad brush. And by all means, go to our website and engage PAFOW.net, and you can join the PAFOW community. You can learn more about events, but there'll certainly be more to come. So with that, we'll take a short break and come back. And we're going to talk about predictive analytics.